Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sunesha, and we are curating a map for Cities Skylines. I'm going to try to attempt today something new. I'm going to try to attempt to explain how I make my choices when I'm placing my trees and decorations on my map. I'm using a similar methodology that I use when in landscape photography. In landscape photography, you'll kind of look for those pleasing places with nice features and interesting choices. It's not just about detail, it's about composition. And what we are looking at here is a very simple picture. If you look at this picture, you can see if we concentrate on the beach, which is one I'm going to explain, how a different curve can change how you perceive something. Look at this curve, and it looks very interesting because it is something for your eye to follow along inside the filter. And of course, we're gonna play top down, mostly in Cities Skylines, but I think this will explain how I decorate. So if I turn my camera around, we have a more straightish line here, still a curve around the corner, and you can see it looks interesting, but this view is a lot more interesting and pleasing to your eye if you ignore the whole mountain thing by just looking at the shoreline. It's a lot interesting, and of course we have those nice rocks there. But yes, as you can see, this is by design. When I design something on the coastline, I'm trying to not stay very straight, because that means it will not be as pleasing for your eye. And as you can see, even when we are a little bit top down, how nice this S-curve bends to your eye, how it feels. And I kind of obsessed with the S-curves and following in straight lines. And here we can have a very straight line where supposed to encourage people to plant their harbors and stuff. So that's how it looks. But by having these round shapes that looks kind of boring from here, just creates a very more interesting view when you're a little bit tilted, not top down. This just creates a lot more interesting escapes. And as you can see in the free line, I have used a similar technique to make it interesting here. We can see the curves bending here. We can also see how I design things with the topography here. So it depends here. As you can see, we have once again, yes, I'm abusing the S-curve a lot, but this is by design to have these nice curves that just make everything more interesting instead of a very straight. Because the more natural way for the water to travel would probably be going down here, and as this is the lowest point, the closest point, the water will probably collect over here, but that will create a very straight line, and we will not have this pleasing view that follows around here. So yeah, that's why I abuse the S-curves a lot. It makes things look a little bit interesting, and I also use a lot of things when trying to create shapes with the help of decorating. I don't look at the item I'm decorating with, I kind of look them as a building block, building a whole picture. So you can see I've created lines here and leave it open here, and we can see the lines here and here and here and here. So together they work very well together, and just by doing small things can change the whole perception of this small scene where we have the truck with I've been creative and put some logs and stuff, so it's an old logging things. Just by removing this tree, we got a completely more scene. It's more open, it's not closed down, and you get more green. So that just open up another way to look at the picture just by moving one tree. I prefer to have it here because I want it to be a little bit hidden, because it's quite visible from far. By putting it there, it will draw your eye directly. So that's the reason why I put that tree there. You see, one tree made a difference, complete difference here. Without tree, different scene. It's more open, and it is so, but this will make it a little bit harder to spot this place. Also, by using the different luminosity, as we can see, the luminosity is how light or dark something is. By combining items, even that they don't have the same color, they kinda, our eyes at the first glance see them as the same color. For example, we have the flower trees with the rocks here, and they are kind of same luminosity, they are slight to each other, so they kind of work together. And I am trying to subtly leading if someone is seeing there, they will, what's going on here? When we zoom out, we probably, you see now the scene zoomed out is something completely different. We can still once again see the lines that lead into my next detailed scene. So this is just if you take a landscape photography, okay, this is super obvious. I made it super obvious because I wanted people to see it from different angle. Because if you see it from this angle, you see, you just see those lines just appeared in your mind. So you kind of get drawn to the next thing here. It's probably as you can see here, I've used it over here with the flowing lines. Sometimes I just used a curve, small bend and things, and just small bends to make things more interesting. Like here, like the flowers has grown at the tree line, and it has spread out like this, and you can see over the sea here. And the thing is about, there is what we call a positive space. I'm now direct translation from Sweden. Positive space is where you have a lot of things going on, like this free line here. Between the free lines you have negative space. It's very easy to fill a lot with detail, so that's the reason why I balanced this pond out from the very busy area with a lot of detail and a high frequency and a lot of positive space with an area where I is using a lot less. So it just doesn't, it seems like someone, yeah, it becomes too much. You kind of have to balance it out. So together it looks nice. And I've just used low vegetation. That's the reason why I used a lot less detail here. And in our case, how we make detail in a very green-brown environment is by using the flower freeze. Or we use different luminosities. Like I said before, you can see how the rock, and if you kind of zoom out, how the rock not very visible, but if you, yeah, you can see how they, if they are very close to each other, it looks very different. So you can kind of, that way you can combine, if you don't want to repeat something, you find something with the same luminosity and put it together. That way you can repeat it without repeating it over and over again. So you can go crazy with the flowers here. And instead I went crazy with rocks instead, and with the things you can put here. So that's one trick you can use also. I also use this light green because as you can see, it works together quite well, because once again, if you compare it to the more darker luminosity of these three and that one, they have the same luminosity but different colors. So you can see I can use dark colors with different luminosities. They're still green, but you kind of doesn't see those green ones because they don't fit in there, and you can work with different colors and dark. So yeah, if you want to break up a pattern, you can always like put a dark tree like that, and suddenly it's not the same pattern. Now I've completely blocked it, but as you can see, that one, what I'm talking about, if I'm using this one with more darker luminosity, it will not follow that nice arrangement that we have going with the green bushes and stones, because they are not the same luminosity. It doesn't really, you can see that it creates works together, but it kind of doesn't fit together. But so yeah, that's one thing. So yes, so that's how kind of work it. And once again, we did that with the negative space. The reason why I left it, I can show you quickly how it looked before. Before I removed this freeze here. Let's see, Cities Skylines. So we ask it. Before it was, I think, around 3 trees. Let's place them like I would place them if it was part of the scene here. So you can see when you're zooming out again, we have very much positive space. We can't see the cliffside of the waterfall. It becomes very too much positive space. By actually removing things, you can actually make things a lot easier. And now it's just a completely different scene, and otherwise it was kind of a clump of green here. And that's why I've also deleted trees here. And they were clumped together there. I think I want to fix that. Maybe we should do a real life situation here. I think it's about removing. What I like to do is we have not too much of pattern there. What I like, another trick by using the toggle whiteness mod, you can go to toggle whiteness mods. You can go to natural resources. This gives you a very monochromatic view. We just have white and green. This will make things spots very easy, and you can see this concentration here where they look very man-placed. I think by just removing these two, we will open up. Let's move it here. I haven't worked with that area yet. Okay, so that just breaks up that. We created a little bit more negative space. This is too much here. I think if we just move it here, and I will move that one left here, so we create a nice open space here between the trees. And it will look a lot nicer. Yes, it looks less clumpy, but it still looks very organized. So what we can do then, I like to view, sometimes we work with this area here. I think that tree is one tree too much. We can get away, we get more space to arrange our trees. I'm removing in that one. We have one of these. Yeah, let's put it there. And we can see here we have straight lines. And yeah, straight lines can be nice, especially if you're walking on parks, but this is supposed to be nature. And so too much straight lines is not always a good thing. And I think I move this a little bit here, so we don't get a straight line there. So just by removing that thing, it looks a little bit better. I think I want to move that one over here, like this. So now it looks, the flows, the picture flows a bit better. It grows nicely now. It looks very natural, and yes, it looks a lot better. So just by removing 2 trees and creating more negative space between the trees and here, and open it up and try to break too much straight lines, we made this a little bit more interesting. Now I just want to move that a bit down there. So yes. The thing is, when I'm working on trees and things, how I like to do things when I hand place trees is that I place them out like this, and then I just move them into place. Because when you place it down directly from the editor, you just doesn't see it here. But this way I can directly see, I want to put it there, and I can see it how it blends in and works with the picture. So that's a small trick I can share. Let's continue here, and let's look at another area here. We will zoom out here, and one of the things that becomes very apparent if we take a look, if I zoom in more, my stone rocks appear. So I just wanted to show you why I placed rock here in the riverbed, is that we have very straight lines around the river or stream going down here, which creates, it's really look from this. Now the level of detail has sorted out, and you can see it kind of doesn't blend in, but when we zoom in, we can see how I'm breaking up the straight lines from the riverbed by just placing some rocks that will take away some of these things. It becomes an added detail to the negative space once again. But if you can think about it, if you're thinking about it very simple, we have two different colors here. We have the blue river traveling through the corridor of green here, and it's very straight lines. And it is very good to have those kind of things on a golf course or something, but so I messed it up by putting more rocks on the different thing. You can use prop anarchy mod, or you can use it as I used it in an earlier episode. I show you how you can do it in the pondering pound, how you can just reset the water level and pause your game to place out things underwater. So I've just added things here that I think would trying not to just make lines here. So I break my own rule here, Sunesha. I added a straight line because I think this is will be the place where you will cross over if you walked over there. That's how I come up with cool ideas to decorate. I try to imagine the place if I was standing over here somewhere. Like here, this is the place I will cross because here we have the rocks and this is the lowest place. You can also be very creative and actually use the topography to decide, for example, to create a crossing like I've done here. And then I just added some trees with the low vegetations, and once again we can see how I've used different lines to make it interesting. Those lines are not very apparent until you look for them. When you are doing landscape photography, you look for them all the time because you want to compose a nice picture, and then you kind of look for things like this. So it's a nice thing. So if I was taking a landscape photography, I will probably not take it over there, but I think this one is this would be a very nice photo with stones leading down there, and then you have the trees and stuff. And my proudest achievements in the creative achievements inside this riverbed was this thing here. I thought, yeah, let's make a couple of rocks. The rocks have only one purpose, is to catch that for what do you call it, log that has fallen down the stream and has cached there. So just make something interesting that can happen in real life if you put down a stream like that. One thing I is starting to not like so much about this picture and composition here, this thing is like one blob of a very light hues here, and it's too big. I think it would work better without it. What do you think? Yeah. Maybe. I think so. I think I will actually remove it. Yes, it opened up the area. It was a too light hue compared to that. So I think we will want to do something interesting here. So this is kind of my process. I'm trying just to show you because I look over areas and then I think about the area. And then I think about how it will look different. So I think let's see here. Sometimes it helps to zoom out to create more interesting thing. I think I want to have it over here. And so we have a nice line following there. I like this negative space because it makes this flower more interesting. So I think it's actually more interesting to put over here. Yes, maybe move it around a bit. So I think I want to have it in that angle like this, and then now it kind of, if I move it over there, it kind of becomes, I don't like when things loop together too much. You create circles, we don't want circles. I think it will be better over there, actually. And I will leave that negative space there. It looks a lot nicer than this rock there. However, can work with this a bit. So I think I will put it over here instead. Sometimes I work from very zoomed out because it's easier to see the overall picture of things when you're really zoomed out, because yes, if it works, the thing is, if it works really zoomed out, it usually actually works fairly nice. Zoom in here too. Let's move this a bit. Spin this. That's also nice. Let's see. We have the card here. So now I'm thinking how it all will work together. There it works because we have the nice flow of the picture. We have negative space here. We have the flowers creating a nice pattern, and the palm plant is actually working together with rocks. I think that is the best option for that. And as you can see in different angles, if you get it right, it kind of works however you spin it. So that's really nice. So now over to more free things. What I kind of like to do with frees is to kind of blend them together with different kinds. So otherwise you get, it really depends on the situation. If you are in a park, you want to create those walls of trees. You know, when I'm meeting with a wall, you can just go right into the forest. There is no sprawl of some small bushes or anything. You just go right into the forest, and there is just one kind of trees. Otherwise, I like to create these ones because it blends out the harsh lines here. Let's create like this. This is a more park arrangement of trees, because when you come here, you come directly into the forest, and that just happens in. Usually doesn't, as long as we have forest loggers or anything that humans that has touched it. I think that's the key. If humans have been here, this is a very human placement of trees because they are placed by humans. So, but otherwise, it's more usual for trees to have different kinds of species of trees. So as I've used in this map, I have blended. Let's just do it this quickly, and I will show you what I mean. So this is a more natural how it looks if we turn the camera around here. We have more the forest, more man-made forest, and this is more species. And I've used it also to blend things. It's one way to make the vanilla trees look a bit better too. And I usually space the smaller the trees, I space them out a bit. So this is more that's a more spacey one, and then we have this one. But it's all about preference. There is no wrong. So yeah, there is never you can do anything wrong. I think as long as you like it, it doesn't really matter if it follows all the game. But I've used this to create this area here, so it looks kind of nice here. Because if we look from afar, which most players will look, so this is probably what you probably will see mostly by the trees, and you can see this tree line is a little bit boring, or this spread out here, it just looks like bushes has grown, bushes like to, and this creates a more diverse environment. So that's why I fade them like this. But I can say this is typically what I will do for this island, and the reason for that is because this island has been untouched for very long. But over here I will probably go with more man-made here, but here I've tried to imagine a little bit how the forest will could do whatever it wants without human intervention. That is the key here. And then I had to make some design choices here. You can see here how big a forest can be. It really depends on the situation. In my case, we can see the topography here. So yeah, our players can build over here and so on. But for player reasons, I have actually pushed the whole forest line. The forest line is where the forest begin. I pushed it over here and spread out the small trees instead, so people have place to build close to this volcano without eating into the forest too much. But I think the more natural growth, if we take a look at this, I think, and let me mark this so I can show what I am talking about. I think this part is more how much it will spread out, because the volcano is here, and the forest will just not hug the volcano things. It will probably spread out more like I've done here, so it will spread out more. But if I do that, I think the more natural forest line for this kind of thing, I would think that the forest will go around here more likely. It really depends. And over here, and this is also an example. As this is a small area, I don't want people to feel like they're destroying the forest. So yeah, I'm thinking the forest line will spread out like here, maybe more like this, and all the way here. Yes, like that. So I kind of, that's why I've added these loggers and things, because then people can see that there has been human intervention over here. That's the reason, if someone understands the story about this place over here, is that people, and you can see that they have thinned this out by logging. And I think I'm gonna add a lot more tree stumps and logs here, so people can see that there has been great human intervention on this side of the island. And that's why another design reason, I planted the trees more tighter around here at the hard to get places, because humans hasn't forest here. But here where humans has been a lot more, you can see that I haven't placed the forest so tight together, because humans has already been here and worked on it. So yes, there is a lot of thought. But I think if you design a map, it's a really good thing for you to actually think what has happened to this map, what has happened here before. If you do a real place, maybe local history can even help you a bit to get the inspiration how you place things and how you decide to do things, and it will give you creative ideas and inspiration, like I have done over here. So I haven't added the logs yet, but I think it would be a nice detail. And let's add some here before let's finish the video by adding some rocks. Oh, sorry, trees here. This isn't there. It's on this category. I think so many things here. So we can add another, and then once again design choices. Let's add it over here, and spinny. Added one over here, and the spinny. You can always move them around, but this way, I think it will add I will add some bushes here too. But yeah, so let's see how we are on time. I have 1 minute to do something cool. Oh man. So let's see. Let's not make everyone point at the same things or point in the same direction. And we don't mean the same direction. If you point every three like this, it's kind of like what's happened here is sorry for swearing, I will beep that, because Cities Skylines is played by children too. Or yeah, if you do it like this, people will start suspecting there has been a bomb or something, because all the trees has fallen in one direction, and in one direction, in this case, it will look like a bomb. So if that is your thing, or you want to like dig a meteor strike or something, that is a thing that can sell your meteor strikes a lot more. So let's make it a little bit interesting. Let's try to not get them in this, because they've been falling from different directions. Yeah. Oh man, it's too hard. Okay, the video is over. This was everything I have to do. I started to do this without thought, and that is why I can conclude the video. If you really start to think how things is happening, how you want it to look, it's a lot easier to make design choices and decorate. So in my case, with 1 minute, I had no idea how I wanted to think about it. But if I was thinking about my login space, I would probably maybe make lines and then leave some trees so people can see that humans has digged into the forest. So by using just that creative ideas, it's maybe could be an interesting idea to have these kind of logs close to where the forest is, because that is where a human has logs. So yes, just by thinking a little bit about it, I got better ideas how to decorate. So that was everything for this video, and as always, thank you for watching.